Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Paulus, and today we're going to talk about how to bulletproof your business and really thrive in tough times. So there's no doubt that all businesses will go through tough times. Heck, every person goes through tough times, and many of us are right now. But there are some key things that separate out the people and the companies that survive and thrive from those that falter and fail. And today in this video, I'm going to share what those are and show you how to bulletproof your business and thrive in tough times. Let's get started. Okay, so personally, I have gone through the Great Recession back in 2008. I had quit my job 2 years prior to start a business of doing virtual outsourcing services for companies. Back in 2006, it was a little more forward thinking, but regardless, I was able to get two big clients that kind of embraced my outsourcing services. So I had a finance company and I had a construction company, and it was going good. Their accounts were big. My husband at the time actually quit his job to help out with the little ones at the home, and I was the primary breadwinner. And then when 2008 happened, finance and construction were like the two industries that got hit the hardest, and I lost the two big clients that I had, and it really threw me in a tailspin. And so what I had to learn to do was to pivot. I had to go and say, okay, what are the problems that are out there that people are having in this recession that I can solve so I can at least put money, food on the table for my family. And so I had come from an accounting background, and I had done tax prep in the past. So I literally created a tax prep business. As much as I didn't love doing taxes, it was a easy way to get clients and solve a problem that I knew I could solve because everybody has to get their taxes done. And so I did. I ended up having to do that for about 10 years while I was trying to bootstrap this other the outsourcing company that I have to what it is today. And then I got to a point where I was struggling doing both, and I sold off my tax practice. I had to pivot. I had to be able to say, how can I get through this time? And then think about COVID, right? People had to look for a problem that people had. A simple example everybody knows is toilet paper, right? People needed toilet paper. And so it was, that was a way to, if you had a way to solve that problem. Or think about hand sanitizer. The companies were able to pivot a lot of their manufacturing that were in complementary, that had the ability to produce that, and shifted and created more hand sanitizer. And so there's ways to shift and adapt in hard times. It's all about finding out what the problems are that people are having. So let's go ahead and dig into this deeper. Let's go and officially get started. So let's talk about 5 ways you can bulletproof your business. So number 1, understand the problem and be willing to pivot. So I already talked about this a little bit in the intro, but really empathize with your customer and say, are their needs changing? So again, COVID, a good example. Maybe if you're a grocery store, you might want to pivot and be able to offer grocery delivery or grocery pickup. So if you were more of a more boutique type grocery store, that might have helped keep business going, right? If it was a business that was struggling with that. So you want to figure out what are the problems people are having in those tough times like recessions. And then if you are having a tough time and it's not a recession, you might not be solving a problem that people really want. So it doesn't really matter if it's a recession or not. It's still about solving problems, but it's even more important during recessions. They really don't really care about, hey, go get this result as much, or hey, I can go and give you this benefit. Focus on articulating the problem well, and they will assume you know how to solve it. And then when you know that problem, go and create an irresistible offer that people would be crazy to say no to. So another kind of hack to bulletproof your company is to really limit your risk to execution risk. And what do I mean by this? So I actually heard this in a podcast that Alex Hormozi did. So a lot of newer entrepreneurs fall into this trap, but we often overestimate the payoff of our risk and underestimate the cost of what it's going to be. So when Alex Hormozi talked about execution risk, what he said is there really are 2 different kinds of risks. It could be you didn't execute on it appropriately, or your idea wasn't very good. And so if you limit your risk to execution risk, you know it's your fault, because if you come up with an idea that you know people need, you think about eons of time. There's always a need that people have had for forever, right? Whether it's relationships or food, or people a lot of times want things related to weight loss, or, there's different things that have just never gone away. And so you might think that that market is flooded, but really at the end of the day, it's all about your offer and how you create an irresistible offer that stands out from everybody else. And so you can still figure out how to create a blue ocean within a red ocean. A red ocean is in the marketing world of a bunch of sharks eating at each other. So it's a red ocean because everybody's trying to go after the same thing. But if you can create a blue ocean within that, because the noise is already there, you just have to figure out how to show how your idea is something different or better or irresistible. So there's something called an adoption curve, where it takes sometimes, if you have a product that's not a lot of people know about, or you kind of have to adopt or break through this innovation stage, and then you have to get early adopters to embrace your product, and then you have the early and late majority, and then laggards that eventually get there. And so it kind of takes a lot to get through that early phase if you're coming up with such a new novel idea that nobody has heard of before. And so just be aware of that sometimes can help or be a reason why you might be struggling in your company. So like Alex Hormozy says, sometimes boring businesses are okay. Number 3 is to really know who you are. Business is hard, and I think to get through these times, those hard times, the more you intrinsically know why you do what you do, what you stand for, like the values of your company and where you want to go, the vision of your company, you can be like, oh, I believe in this. I believe in the product. I went and I empathize with my customers. I know we're doing the right thing. And it allows you to get through those hard moments where you're like, man, what am I doing wrong? So I think it's really important to know who you are, because business is hard. Business is about solving problems. So it'll help you get through those tough times. So before we go into the next 2 ways to really bulletproof your business, if you like videos like this, I would love it if you would like and subscribe to my channel. Comment in the comments like what you like about these videos, what you'd like to see more of, because I want to continue to create these videos and to really hopefully give you more value and get you unstuck in your business. Okay, the 4th one to bulletproof your company is to really focus on one big goal. Interesting thing, I was in a meeting with one of my business consultants, and she actually, as her main job, works for a large company. I think they're valued at like $1 billion, lots of employees, and she works pretty closely with the top executives. She's maybe like 2 rungs down from the CEO. And so her boss reports, I think, to the CEO. And it was interesting because they've kind of gone through this transition, this shift where they're redoing like the values of their company and creating new goals, trying to get the company aligned. And I had to read a book called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. And in that book, I really got it really taught me the importance of really having just 1 or 2 wildly important goals, preferably 1. And she told me that these executives had come up with 8 or 9 goals that the company was going to focus on. And I thought, and then she had heard about this right at the time she was reading this book. And so she actually went to the executives and talked to them about this book and creating these 1 or 2 goals, and they've since pivoted. But I thought, man, these executives are getting paid $250,000 a year probably or more, and they don't even understand how to set goals. So I realized just how, if they don't understand, there's a good chance that majority of people don't. So I would suggest to really bulletproof your company, find 1 wildly important goal, and focus on that. I think that's probably one of the biggest things I see entrepreneurs make, is not being focused enough. So set 1 wildly important goal. Okay, so the 5th item to bulletproof your business is to really know what you need to do at the right time. As entrepreneurs, if you're a visionary entrepreneur, we see the vision so clearly, so we think that we have to start with our big vision in mind, but you don't. You can do things in phases and do things at the right time and baby step it to your big vision. If I had to go back in time 15 years ago with my business, that's the exact same thing I would do. I would, even though I have this clear vision, I say, what can I do today? How can I niche down today to really focus on that one thing? And the way you can know what you need to do when is to really understand what phase of business you're in and what is required in that phase. And you're in luck, because I actually just created an assessment that can help determine what phase of business you're in. You can actually go to theimpactequation.com and take an assessment, and it'll actually spit out kind of like your results of what phase of business you're in, what you should be focusing on, and keep you focused on the right things to really bulletproof your company and be aware of what's coming ahead, because it'll actually show you the future phases that you're going to run into. So again, if you would like to know what phase of business you're in, it's a free assessment. You can go to theimpactequation.com.